Okay, before I get into this, I would just like to warn you that there's going to be spoilers galore. So if you wanted to see Godzilla and you don't want me to ruin anything for you, you were just kind of looking for some insight or like my opinions on the movie. These are going to be my opinions, but I feel very strongly about very specific things that happen in the movie. So I'm going to ruin things for you, basically. So if you don't want to know what's going to happen, then turn the video off now. If you're sticking around, welcome aboard. These are my feelings on the new Godzilla movie that just came out. I went to see it this weekend. I told a bunch of people I was going to post a video. This is that rant video that I was talking about. I took the weekend to kind of collect my thoughts, really let everything marinate in the old noggin, and so I'm just going to jump right into this. As a longtime Godzilla fan, when I heard that there was going to be a new movie, I was a little... Well, let me be specific here. When I heard that there was going to be a new movie that wasn't being made by Toho, I was really skeptical but excited at the same time, because I mean it's been 10 years since the last Godzilla movie was made, and this also would be the first time that I get to see a legitimate Godzilla movie on screen, because it wasn't only until recently that I was turned on to going to like privately owned theaters for festivals that kind of, you know, show classic movies. I just went to one not too long ago with my friend Jeanette. We saw Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Serenity, and that was kick-ass. But this would be the first time that I get to see a Godzilla film on screen, and that's like a huge deal to me, man. I've never been able to do. I've never been able to see that. So of course I was excited, but I was a little skeptical, because the last time that Toho didn't really have any involvement in a Godzilla movie, we got that live abortion, this terrible 1998 film with Matthew Broderick, where the movie was so bad that Toho like distanced themselves from it completely, and then ended up putting that monster Zilla in Final Wars, and just having the real Godzilla kick its ass like it wasn't anything. He just whipped it with his tail and was like, boom, you're dead with atomic breath. And that was actually pretty cool, because that was like the big thing in that movie, was that Godzilla didn't have atomic breath. So over time, I kind of just gave into the hype. I usually don't do that. I let myself get like sucked into the excitement of it all, because I mean it's Godzilla. That's like my favorite film franchise of all time. I love it to death. I grew up with it, just kind of like watching it with my family, like with my dad, just kind of like chilling in the living room and watching Godzilla movies all the time. That was pretty radical. But so it was cool. The teaser trailer came out with the Halo jumpers, and that was freaking amazing. We got a really cool shot of Godzilla. He wasn't a rubber suit, it was CGI, but I mean, shit, it looked good. He looked massive. That was crazy. I did notice he was a little chunky, though. I'll get more into that later, but that was kind of like where part of my skepticism, if that's a word, I'm pretty sure. But so I was super excited, and then time went on, and we got the official trailer, and that was badass, and we got that really cool shot of the monster diving into the water, and it obviously wasn't Godzilla, it had wings, so my first thought was that it was going to be Rodan, and that would have been fucking awesome if Rodan was in that movie. But then time went on, we learned it wasn't, and I was actually kind of really disappointed that Godzilla would be fighting another monster. I feel like that's one of the like kind of cliches that Godzilla had, that I didn't really care for. Like, I mean, it was cool like to like switch things up every once in a while, but what I really love is I really like the really gritty the first Godzilla movie, Gojira. That movie is like phenomenal. That's one of my top 3 movies of all time for me. It was just Godzilla, this really unstoppable force versus humanity, and it was really cool, because it was kind of like man meddling with nature, and nature just kind of being like, well, I mean, this is kind of your own doing, and then Godzilla like being like the symbol for like the atomic age, and it was like just really dark and awesome. So I was kind of upset that Godzilla was fighting another monster. The monsters, though, the Mutos, or whatever they were called, I kept wanting to call them Mutos, and that would have been really cool. Once again, I'll get into that in a second. But the Mutos, other than the fact that they were pretty much the Cloverfield monster mixed with the 1998 Godzilla aesthetically, that was kind of, I didn't care for the way they looked, but them as monsters were pretty cool because like the male one had wings and that kind of like switched it up because there was the male one and the female one coming together, and they were gonna like make all those like little ones, which they didn't really do anything with that. That's plot, that's on plot. But anyway, monsters themselves were pretty cool, and they had like this really cool power with they would like how Godzilla has his atomic breath, how he'd like charge it up charges it. I can't talk today. Charges it up in his spines and then just kind of like lets it rip. These guys, they had like this really cool power in their feet where they'd like charge it up and like smash it to the ground, and then it would like release this EMP wave like in this like huge sphere or whatever, and then like everything electric would just kind of power down. And that was pretty awesome, and that made for like some really cool scenes with like planes falling out of the sky. There was a bunch of plane crashes in the movie, like cities going out, and then it's just kind of like this really dark, creepy atmosphere while these monsters just rip into where were they? They were in. They didn't actually do anything in Japan. It was Hawaii and San Francisco, and actually a little bit of Las Vegas. So that was pretty neat. I really I kept calling them Mutos, but it's Muto. Why I thought they should have been Mutos, because I assumed that they would have been created like Godzilla, like how he was in the original films, where he was like a byproduct of like kind of like a lizard or like some kind of prehistoric being resurrected through nuclear radiation and kind of like mutated. So Muto, like mutant. But in this movie, they just made them prehistoric animals. They were dinosaurs. We were watching a dinosaur movie, and that was really stupid. That was just so dumb. I really hated that. I'm sick of dinosaurs. I mean, as a kid, yeah, dinosaurs are cool. I mean, Godzilla is reminiscent of like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Well, before they figured out that they put the skeleton together wrong, but I digress. It's Godzilla, man. He's not a dinosaur. Why they kind of like explained why he has like atomic breath and everything, because like before, you know, the Earth like cooled or whatever, there were all like these organisms running around, and like from the Big Bang there was all like this radiation surrounding the Earth, and as time went on and the Earth started to cool and everything started to be like more subdued and everything, they kind of like crawled into the Earth to be more towards the core where it was more radiated or whatever, and then they were never explained how they came back. But it was just stupid that it was a dinosaur. That pissed me off. And since we're talking about Godzilla, pretty much this whole video is all the problems I had with the movie really surrounded Godzilla himself, because the movie's called Godzilla. Godzilla's hardly in the movie. He makes a brief cameo in Hawaii, and then he kind of like does his thing in San Francisco, but most of the time you're following the main characters, and you're following the Mutos or whatever. So Godzilla was pretty much just like, I feel like they wrote the movie and then threw Godzilla in for marquee value, because it really didn't feel like a Godzilla movie to me. It could have been a movie about the Mutos or whatever. It could have been Cloverfield 2 for all I cared. It didn't really matter. It just didn't feel like a Godzilla movie to me, really. Also, yeah, Godzilla was fat. He was definitely an American Godzilla. Everybody was worried about that. I know the Japanese felt like Godzilla was fat. What I'm hoping happens is they kind of get upset by this, like they were in 1998, and Toho start making awesome kick-ass Godzilla movies again, and kind of being like, all right, Americans, this is the way to do it. This is how Godzilla movies made. So that's really what I'm hoping happens. Or America just gets its shit together and stops cranking out bad movies all the time, and bad remakes and bad installments and awesome franchises. So yeah, Godzilla was fat and he was hardly in the movie. Most of the movie you're kind of just following them.